recording now. So I'll go ahead and start this meeting for the science department now. And we'll begin with looking at the agenda for today. So today, I sent you an agenda and a reflection log. We'll look at the agenda first. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, hold on. Why isn't it open? Okay, I'm having issues with my... All right, so here it is. So we're going to start, as usual, with our emotional check-in. This is actually a strategy I've been using whenever I meet with my students. I like it. I hope you've been doing the same, just to, give that peace of mind to students. After spring break, it was kind of rough. I spoke to a lot of my seniors. They're really bummed out. So I think more than ever right now we need to do this. So I'll go ahead and just set the tone again, just to remind us how we do the emotional check-in. So we're gonna begin by just rating or quantifying like how we're feeling, and then if you feel comfortable, share out maybe a reason or two as to why you're feeling that way, and then at the end we can all come together and do a debrief. So I'll go ahead and start. I'm about a 7, 8. Not much has changed other than the fact that we have to wear masks everywhere, which kind of sucks. Spring break wasn't too eventful for me and for students. I had to assign them some work over the break, but I should have known better. I didn't give them anything too big, but hardly anyone did it. But luckily, after we got back, like, they're all on it. So I think they just needed that. They just needed that time off. So I kind
And you got bombarded by admin emails. So
yeah. I was helping. I wasn't really on break, actually. I wasn't on break, and plus we had the PDs, and I'm
so sorry.
People that attended. So I'm about a 7 or 8. So I'll pass it off round robin style to whoever would like to share out next.
I don't know the scale. What's 1 to 10?
1 to 10, yeah.
Is 10 the best?
Yeah, 10 the best.
All right. I'm like at a 7.
Okay.
I'm okay. I just say, like I tell everyone, through the days, it's always cyclical. Sometimes I feel really, really good, like high on the moon. Other times I feel like, my screensaver there. But I'll go back to that. Okay, Finn, done.
Okay. Anyone else like to share how they're feeling?
Sure, I'll go next. I don't know, 7 as well. I think it's been a little bit rough trying to get a routine going, especially when you have a child. It's very difficult to manage everything when she requires 100% attention every single minute. And then my wife is also a teacher, and she teaches elementary, so they have it even, in my opinion, a little more difficult because it's even though the students, I feel that she has more work. She's constantly checking emails, calling parents, and it's just, I don't know, just a 7, just because it seems that the workload hasn't stopped. It's still the same amount. It seems that it's still a lot of work trying to coordinate with home responsibilities, and then just trying to keep up with the emails, the trainings, and the students. And but just like you, Iga, and I spoke to some of my students, and yeah, they really needed that week to just not think about school. And just like you, some of them just got on it right away this week. So it's been in something kind of nice to see the kids kind of getting back into the routine and actually accepting that now they have to do this online learning for the rest of the year.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Put a little pause if anyone would like to share. If not, then we'll go ahead and move on for the sake of time. But okay. So thank you guys for sharing. So the next item agenda that I wanted to talk about, and I'll also partner up with Mr. Gurr if you'd like to join in, is last week we did that optional PD for 2 days. It was a 4-hour PD, Wednesday and Thursday, and the topic of it was how to kind of Franklinize what a remote learning platform or methodology, I guess you could say, or framework would look like for Franklin. And so for those 2 days, we pretty much hashed out what it would look like. We saw different examples from different teachers, and we essentially laid out these 5 domains as like the must-haves for this online learning, whether we're calling it distance learning, remote learning, online learning. The term doesn't matter. It's just going to be the Franklin way of doing this online learning during the school closure for the rest of the year, as you all have heard, of course. So these big 5 items, which I'll review and I'll let Mr. Gerd interject also if he'd like to, are the 5 that we're saying as a school, we're not preaching, but we're suggesting that these are the 5 that should be incorporated into an online classroom. And the reason that some of these may not be a part of your typical classroom setting, especially like discussions, is because in an online platform, remember, we don't have students in our classroom every day to talk to every day, to do check-ins every day. And I'm sure those of us that do Zoom classes, there's a lot of students that don't have mics, like, Ramachandra, and there's a lot of people that don't want to talk. So if you're not giving them a discussion board forum to voice their, not just their content knowledge, but voice their opinions and give critical feedback on them, then you're missing a big part of the online uh, thought process. So this is kind of like a must-have. What it looks like, I think, really is up to the teacher, but I think we all heard from the principal, Mr. Gurr, the other admin, that these are really the 5 that we need to incorporate. So I'll just go down the list, and Mr. Gurr, stop me at any time if you'd like. But I don't think that this is too different than what we've already looked at. And once we get into our breakout groups, the main chunk of today's PD will be to use the remote learning log kind of as your guide to ask yourself, what am I doing to incorporate online instructional materials, not classwork instructional materials, right? Because it is very different. We can't just assume that students are going to do 100 worksheets every single day. That's not how online learning works. So we're going to have a chance to partner up in our breakout groups and kind of collaborate and come up with a system that we think as a science staff would work. We're also going to look at what typical assignments would look like, different assessments, both formative and summative, discussion, either discussion board on Schoology, and from the PD, I think the big takeaway was that everyone kind of agrees that discussion boards on Schoology are probably the best. I know teachers have other mediums they use. Zoom, obviously, you can do as well, but that's just a suggestion. And then feedback. And these are not in any particular order. These are just the big 5 that should be part of an online learning. Any questions so far? Or Mr. Gurr, did you want to add anything?
No, as usual, you covered it very comprehensively. And I just want to reiterate around this remote learning reflection log, which is now up on
I'll
Schoology.
put it up. Yeah, I'll put it up while you're talking.
This is designed solely for you as a tool to say, when you run your hand over what you're doing with your students, are you covering these? What materials are you using? How are you using videos? How are you using written materials? To what degree are you able to create a relationship with your students? How are you figuring out whether your students are learning? How are you getting feedback to your students? And lastly, how are they able to communicate with each other? So that's all that remote learning reflection log is. That's all it is. If you want to use it, great. If you have another way, that's great too. So thank you, Egan.
Yeah, and I can just add on to that. There are, like, 3 or 4 questions for some of these, and these are just, sentence starters. They're just guides. So when we're in our groups today, I'm going to ask that there be one point person that can record in the chat box, because I'm also recording and transcribing what you guys put in the chat box so that we can save that for our meeting. So if we can make sure that for every single one of our groups, we have one person that's keeping tabs on what the group came up with as a whole, and if we can just label them domain 1, domain 2, domain 3, that way it's consistent, so that when we meet up next week, we'll have like a process that works for all of us, that we can just say, hey, we all agreed that we're going to do discussions like this, or we all said that these are some good assessment strategies. And again, we're not dictating what a biology and a chemistry and a physics class should look like. It's just like, as a Franklin staff, science staff, which domains can we make our own. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, of course, because a lot of us have strategies in our classrooms that work, that align with online learning. Like, I found that a lot of the things that I already do are already kind of online anyway. So please don't think that we're trying to tell you to change your classroom in any way, other than the fact that we have to be cognizant of the fact that students don't have internet. All students do not have internet. All students cannot be expected to submit an assignment the day you want them to submit an assignment. So the purpose of the modules and the purpose of these domains for a module, and I'll reiterate in case that wasn't clear, these 5 make up a module. So a module, and I should have put that on here, sorry. So it should be remote learning module and domains. So these 5 domains constitute a module. So when we're in our groups, we're going to say, for example, for a biology module that I'm working on genetics, here is the assignment I have in mind, right? If I'm working with Ms. Cordero or Mr. Calderon, we'll say, here are some assignments we have in mind. Here are some assessments that we think we can use for that module. Here's how I'll do a discussion for that module. And here's how we would give feedback. We're not going to say, hey, I'm going to do my own thing and then you'll do your own thing. We're trying to find some sort of common ground, because all the Franklin staff, the PD that attended, we all had a lot of questions. What's this going to look like? How is this going to change the classroom? And what came out at the end was that these 5 are the recommended domains or components, if you will, for what this new online learning is going to look like, because we're going to be doing this the rest of the year now. So we're not just planning short term. This is the long term now. So this is just helping us build a skeleton for the rest of the year. Does anyone have any questions about that? Okay, so these will be the 5 different domains we'll look at. We're obviously not going to get a chance to look at all of them, but whoever is our transcriber for our group, if you could just please label them. And, I think, can we agree, like, for simplicity's sake, can we just go in order? Like, we'll say, here's how I'll do domain 1, here's how we'll do domain 2. And it's really up to the group, but I'm saying, like, as you're keeping notes in the chat box, because I'm going to record the chat box, if you can please itemize them as we did on the domain. So domain 1 is instructional material, domain 2 is assignments, et cetera, et cetera. Does that make sense, guys?
So those of you who did not attend the remote learning PD, or perhaps have not watched the video from which was a cornerstone for our development of the PD.
Which are right here.
Yeah, which are right there. Those are the videos from the PD itself. Below it is the remote learning video, actually on YouTube, but we got so much of this information, the PowerPoint, the text, and also the remote learning reflection log, which we're working with today.
Any questions, guys? Okay, so we'll go ahead and get into our breakout groups now. And stop sharing that with you guys. So how many do we have? We have 13 people. Okay, so we'll do 4 groups of roughly 3, okay? So you'll get a message from me, and if we can make sure we have 1 person per group that is keeping a chat log for what we come up with, and then we'll come back at around 2:45-ish to share out what we came up with and debrief. Sound like a plan? All right, here we go, guys. You're getting an invite now?
Oh.
Didn't get anything.
No, it took me over, and then all of a sudden it said, returning to the main room.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did the same thing for me.
Oh, okay. Hold on. What happened here? Are you getting it now?
Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what happened there. That's what we're going to answer, Ms. Ramachandran, your question there.
Guys, but I don't know in what in some ways it might apply the the five what is it, the five
They're just 5 parts or domains
uh-huh.
of remote learning. And
Okay.
so I
I-
understand that. Go ahead.
No, yeah, and some of them, yes, I am doing, and actually I was so happy today. I was telling my friend that I had a reaction from one of my students that turned in some of the assignments, and I emailed her back letting her know that that she's doing an awesome job and good work. And so I am doing my part. I'm giving feedback.
Okay, so feedback. Feedback is the you feel good about the feedback that you're
Yes.
able to provide. So how are you providing that feedback?
Okay, can I ask just real quick? So who's writing the notes, though?
I am. Okay, so go ahead, Ms. Umana.
So so I post assignments to Schoology every day, and I use the alternate curriculum. And we had a meeting with local district central for moderate to severe teachers, and they provided us extra access to more work that we can be using for them. I post as PDF files, and they have access to downloading, and I've been setting it up in a way where they could actually fill in the answers to some of the stuff. Some I'm able to do it, some I'm still working on it. So little by little, they are, accessing the work, and they are writing it and emailing back to me, for posting it back to me.
Okay, so you mentioned, so you covered a lot there. You talked about instruction domain 1, which is instructional materials. You talked about domain 2, the type of assignments that they have, and in this case, it's the alternate curriculum. And you talked about, you started by saying you were happy with feedback. However, right now, what you've talked so far, that students can fill in blanks in the alternate curriculum. Now, how do you provide feedback to them regarding that writing?
Yes. So I just emailed her specifically. I emailed the student, and I told her that that it was good, that she's doing a good job, and that everything.
Hello, who's this?
This is Miss Kelly, Serta.
Oh, okay. You want to join a group?
Yes,
we're in-
Miss Rexa, we're supposed to join.
Yeah. Okay. We're in breakout groups now, so I'm going to go ahead and add you to one. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. No problem.
We started late because she gave us the wrong code.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, it's because Mr. Gurr had sent his own, but we used the one that I sent out. So
Okay, thank you.
No worries. I'll send you now. Okay, I'm gonna send you to. Okay, you should get an invite from me.
Okay.
Did you get it? Hello, who's this? Hello?
Like I lump people together too, and then I'm having them do a little video project. So this one's like I put everything to be due Friday, and I have like their details, like what they need to do here, and then their rubric. And then I tell them like they can work on it whenever they can. It's like self-paced. So whenever they're done, they could just submit it. That's pretty much what I'm doing right now.
That's great. Hey, can I ask who's taking the notes for this group?
Oops.
I just went right in. So I was just
Okay.
showing them
Okay.
what
Can you
I'm doing, but we'll
transcribe it
figure
in
it
the
out.
chat? Can you transcribe it in the chat box, please?
Yeah, we'll add it right now. Okay.
Nice. So when you put
Thank
due
you.
dates, are you giving incompletes, or are you giving zeros if they don't turn in the
So
assignment, by your due dates?
I'm just giving credit to the ones that do it. So the way that I kind of moved to mastery, so I've been giving them more points for the assessments and the quizzes. Can you guys still hear me? Because I think he froze.
Yeah, he froze, but I can hear you. Other
Okay, I'm like, I'm talking to myself.
No, I can hear you.
I've been changing, and so I do. I changed it to mastery. So I did what? Remember Monty showed us how he changed his grade setup to like 100, and then he put everything else hidden. So I didn't delete any of their work. I just started over in a way where I'm giving them a point, but with a factor of 0, like Mr. Mon does. So I keep track of everything. It's just the assessments, like the project that they're gonna do this Friday, quizzes that they do, exit tickets. Those are the ones I'm counting for their major grade, and I let them retake it till they pretty much get 100, so they can move up. So their grade cannot like hurt them. Maybe it'll be an F because they got like a 5 out of 10 one time, but they can retake it and bring that up. So that I kind of changed, and I had to make that clear to them because that wasn't how I did it before. But I wanted to keep track of like who's actually logging on and who's doing the work. Okay, so we lost Calderon.
I think that's him coming back in. Okay, that's cool. And I you had showed me yours already. Let me show you how I changed mine big time too. Check this out.
Okay.
And I already started doing modules. I already created 2 of them. So this is for my biology class. So for bio, and I have my old folder set up. I need to change this because this reflects what we used to do before. But what I did is starting March 13th, these were the last assignments. So they gave me their notebook and then their points for that week. So now modules begin after that. So for the module that we started that day and up until like this week, I'm just calling DNA and COVID-19. And so I have my notes for that unit, my assignments for that unit, my formative assessment for that unit, my discussion board for that unit, and the summative. And I'm doing this for every single module, and they already know that, and I color coded it. So for my notes, I have my little video learning objective where I talk to them. I tell them this is what we're learning, and you can watch it if you want. I include my notes. So that I've kind of always done this, so this hasn't really changed. But what I did differently was for the assignments. I remember that rubric I showed you for reading and watching. So I'm using my reading rubric, and I made them all sign up to Newsela, and so all the Newsela articles I'm grading with that rubric. And so they're doing usually 1 to 2 reading and watching assignments per module. The due dates are kind of like soft due dates, like Calderon was asking. I'm not going to really hold them to it because I've told them like you can make them up. The formative assessment for that is I'm still just sticking to a quiz, mostly, short answer. And then for my discussion boards, I'm big on discussion boards. So I did 2 of them, one the day that we left, and then one that's due this Friday for DNA mutations.
Okay.
And then the last component is the summative assessment. This one was really cool, and I want to show you this when we get a chance. I had them build their own DNA project using unknown DNA strands that coded for, made up genes that coded for particular traits. And then we had to guess in Zoom rooms which identity you had. So it was like Guess Who, but with DNA. They loved it, and they all presented yesterday. So that was that module.
Nice.
And then the next module, and then so it just goes module by module. So that's the one we just finished, and then we're starting protein synthesis now, and it's the same exact thing. So look, notes, assignments, formative discussion, boom, and it's the same exact thing for all. It's the same exact thing, and I like to use Science Daily a lot. So for this one, it's like free choice, pick your own article that relates to gene editing, like we're talking about. So they're liking it. They're doing it. I think this formula for me is very, very easy to follow. It's not too different than
Mhm.
what I used to already do. But
Mhm.
and it's what I posted for the PD. You know, it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
How about you? Whose iPhone too? Is this Calderon?
That's Miss Smith. Can you hear us? I don't know if she could hear us.
Hello. Okay. Well, I'm gonna bounce it around to other groups though.
Okay.
Okay, because I'm recording at the same time. But thank you for sharing.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
I was just looking at ice cream. Hello there, Mr. Trejo. We posted our things right there.
Oh, I gotta dip out and teach sixth period, but I'll see you guys later.
No worries. Be safe. So what did you guys talk about?
Um, we put it in for, we typed it in the box. You see the, I don't know if you can see it. So we marked it number 1 for instruction, YouTube info, self-record lectures, daily Zoom meetings. And
I don't see it.
it's in the, I think it's in the main room. That's where I typed it.
Oh,
You see it?
okay. No, it's because I'm in your room right now.
Oh, if you
Maybe
go
when I
back,
leave. Maybe when I leave, I'll see it.
you'll
So
see
you
it.
guys all kind of like
Yeah,
uploaded?
we
Oh,
went
we-
we went through all 4 of them.
Oh, sweet. So how are you guys giving feedback? What's that look like?
Feedback
How
is
often?
on to, that's for
Anything.
discussion part number 4. Discussion, students to, oh, we do this, well, Ms. Claudio and I, there's discussion groups on the Schoology where students could give, they can type in and comment back and forth to each other, and we can comment as well. So it's just typing in information. Then there's question and answer sessions through Zoom. And Mr. Cruz does the annotations in the Schoology, which is really cool because you can get students' feedback. And
Oh,
there's-
like on the little side of the
Yeah.
submission?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's the general comments, Ms. Nazarbati for her Zoom meetings that she does.
Okay.
So that was
And are those
for,
for every assignment?
I don't know if she does that for every assignment, but she
Oh.
says she uses her Zoom meetings the most to give feedback and support.
And so what are the instructional materials that you guys are using now?
Well, Mr. Cruz, you want to go
Yeah.
first?
Yeah.
And
So for those, some things that we talked about is that, you know, Ms. Monte and Brenda, they were talking, they're saying how they, Brenda makes pre-recorded videos that are uploads to the students to go over in class.
Mhm.
I kind of do the same thing. I share my screen and I play videos while we have it, well, you know, while I'm running class. And we also, I think we also talked about, excuse me, what else did we talk about, Mr. Monte? Oh yeah, so we do discussions and we post on assignments on Schoology and then on the discussion board that require short answers, like 1-2 sentences, just to check in.
Okay.
and then, yeah, the instruction for, I know for the little 6th graders, 'cause I've been on with Miss Claudio and Miss Carbone, we've been like doing our Zoom meetings together. We're like, so we're doing a lot of ours, like using some of the YouTube videos, but very short things, 1 minute, 2 minutes, right? And then we're gonna do like a self-recorded, we'll give a brief lecture so the kids can click on it. If they can't see us at 9 o'clock in the morning, they might get to see us at 10 o'clock because it's already recorded and they just need to click it. And we're gonna keep them very short.
What do they do with those YouTube videos?
Well, it has to do with the lesson. So Miss Cordero's, the last one we did was on, was not fermentation. What was after that? I think the ones was it fermentation? I have to check with Miss Cordero. My brain is jumbled. So the kids should be like into the lesson. Here's what we're going to be covering: fermentation. Here, check out this, you know, this video for, you know, the video. So it's 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So then, and then it follows up with there's like a Google PowerPoint slideshow of like 5 to 10 slides.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of augments what the YouTubes they just saw. And then for us on Friday, we're actually going to be live, which is we want to make it like a, I don't want to say mandatory, but this is the one you should come to because the other ones are voluntary. So on Fridays now we're going to have one from 11 to 12 and 1 to 2 for instruction. And then to go over the page again, how the remote learning page is set up.
Okay. Yeah, I saw Miss Cordero's classroom, and I remember you had showed it to me before, also Monty. So I kind of know what she's doing. And so then how often are students submitting assignments then in that? How does this differ than your regular classroom then?
Well, the problem is now we met this morning, Ms. Cordero and I, we did our Zoom meeting, and we're still having a group of kids who aren't doing anything. And sometimes we see that they're signed on or they signed on, but nothing's completed.
So they attend your Zoom, but they don't do the work.
Well, they don't attend the Zoom. They don't even, they don't attend the Zoom, but I can see through analytics that they've signed on to their Schoology account. And I can
So
see
they're
that they,
probably doing someone else's work. So then what do you do about that?
well, other than documenting and trying to get a hold of them, I send out the emails to the Schoology,
Okay.
and
You notify the counselors and the admin?
that's, yeah, that's, we put
Okay.
them in the list, you know, and that was just,
Well,
I
at least
I
you're
was,
trying. At least we're trying, right?
I was talking today. I says, well, when do we stop? Like, let's say student, oh, he's ready. Student X doesn't do anything. And I've sent probably 5,
You get that incomplete they're talking about,
right? Hey, listen, Mr. Morris, just text me. I'm going to jump off
Yeah,
now to the
no
English
worries, no worries.
meeting.
Okay.
And we'll see y'all again, okay?
Okay.
And
Okay.
my
Yeah, Mr.
we
Monte.
typed in the box. Okay.
I'm gonna join another group. Mr. Cruz,
Well,
if you want to tag along with me, or
yeah. How do I do that? I don't know how would I do that. I had
let
to
me.
leave because then I don't think I'm gonna be able to. I had to go back to the main room.
Oh, no
Uh,
worries. Okay, I'll
so
kick you out of this one, and then
well,
I can add you.
okay, I'll go back to the main room because I myself. I don't think you can. I don't know if if you know how. I'll be great. It will
Let
be
me
great.
try.
If I-
Let me try.
Cool.
Let's see if I can figure it out.
After we had first got that. So,
Hey guys.
Yeah.
hello.
Oh, Mr. Cruz.
Yeah,
Okay, it worked.
it worked. Yes, thank you.
What are you guys talking about?
We're just talking about assessments and aligning them with the standard. And we had a question regarding the setting to 0. If that was only for mastery grading, because I understood that with, mastery grading, you didn't have to do that. But
That's the same question I have, and I'm not doing mastery grading. I always grade it on a 1 through 4 anyway, so I'm
okay.
not doing that. Does anyone else have the answer for Mr. Conde?
No, that's what Mr. Dowd was asking, because
Wait, Cruz, do you know?
yeah.
I try to adopt something similar to that, but it's just very difficult. At least for me, the way I grade my assessments. So I just kept the same thing that I've been doing before.
Yeah.
The only thing that I've changed, I'm kind of following because the kids already kind of are getting some of the information regarding their grades. So I kind of echo to them that agreement that homeworks, their grade is going to be mostly heavily by their assessment. So I've been putting a lot of emphasis on that. So for my classes, I still give assignments, I still give homeworks, and I give due dates. And I've been putting those scales as 0. So if the kid turns them in or doesn't turn them in, it doesn't affect. The incentive that I gave them though is that if they do the work, if they do submit it, once I grade their assessments, I can use those homework assignments that they turn in to give them extra points on their assessments because at the end of the day, you had to give them some incentives. Otherwise, the kids would just not do the work, so.
Yeah.
Okay, we're on the domain of discussion.
Okay. So how do you guys? Did you guys use discussion boards prior on Schoology? Because that's what I use, and I didn't change anything. I know
Yeah.
Dowd and Cruz have probably seen mine during the PDs when I share them, so I do the same thing. How about
Yeah.
you, Ms. Ramachandra, Ms. Conde? How do you do discussions?
We were talking about this earlier, but we do use it to generate interest in different topics pertaining to what we're studying.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I hadn't used discussion boards previously, but I have used them several times
Okay.
since school closed. So,
And
um,
and you know, one of the main things, because I don't think all of you attended the PD, but that was one of the big things, was that, you know, now that we don't have our students with us in class, so like discussions need to happen. And I know Mr. Cruz, you know, he discusses directly with an annotation feature for every assignment. I like doing discussion boards, and I suggest, and again, we're not telling you what to do, but we need to have some way to make sure that we're checking in with our students through some discussion forum, be it Zoom, be it discussion boards, be it, you know, messaging on Schoology or whatever, because, you know, I'm sure just like me, you have students that you haven't heard from, or you don't hear from like every single day. So this needs to be implemented in one way, shape, or another. You know, so what, moving forward, what do you guys have in mind for discussions?
Well, I'm going to be approaching sex education probably in 3 weeks, hopefully sooner, because I have a lot of content to get through. So definitely discussions are going to be important, but at the same time, there's parameters around the stuff that we just can't write. So that's going to be a little bit difficult. I probably would use polls more
Mm-hmm. That's a
to
good idea.
have their voice
Yeah, yeah. And that's what I
heard.
mean, sharing out different ideas. That's a good one. How about you, Mr. Ramachandra? I know that you're type, oh, use annotation features, so similar to Mr. Cruz, right? Okay, okay. And how often do you do discussions, and how often do you give feedback on those discussions, guys?
Well, for me, I actually have a schedule for all my classes. I had 3 preps, so I dedicated 1 hour for each prep 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I have office hours Thursdays and Thursdays for everybody that wants to come in. So Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, I usually cover an idea, a concept, and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays you know, they're welcome to come if they're study doing the work or their assignments. I go over questions, clarifications, or just like I think Mr. Monti said, that sometimes the kids don't have questions, but they just want to check in. And today we just started talking about their best, the best dish that they've learned how to do in the past, you know, few weeks, and you know, got some pretty good ideas on what to cook for the next few days. So that was kind of nice, you know.
Yeah,
Even though you know, it was meant to do more tutoring, it was just kind of move into just kind of checking in and just having them
yeah,
talk
of
about some random stuff, which is kind of nice.
course, of course. How about everyone else? While you're talking, I need to go grab my laptop charger. I'll be right back.
Mhm. So with regards to the feedback, I'm getting more requests for like, can I have more time? Can I have more time? So, and I clearly have stated that they just need to email me when they need extended time. So I'm really good at responding right back to their emails. But I think that I don't have annotation, and I think the polls would generate some discussion if I started doing those more often. I have too many students
yeah.
to do that for. I have 43 in each class.
Oof. Yeah. I mean, my main point of contact with the students is Remind, because I've been using it all year, so most of them are pretty familiar with it, or all of them are, and they can get a hold of me, you know, and I respond usually really quickly. I have office hours, but I haven't done live classes. I just kind of put that up because I thought we were supposed to, but I usually just respond to the students
Right
usually
away.
in like 30 or 40 minutes, you know, if not less. I mean, as long as it's not late at night or something, but
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone had a chance to share. I think I'm going to go ahead and close this group.
Are you at a cabin, Egon?
Yeah, it's my cabin. I'm working on it. Trying to take advantage of this time to remodel here. 5% just made it. Okay, so I'll go ahead and break out these groups then so we can share out. Thank you, guys.
Oh, you went inside.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, so I jumped around to all groups, and everyone had some really good ideas. We had a person recording what everyone came up with. I'm not sure if every single group had a chance to go over all the domains, but for the most part, I think we kind of, as a staff, came up with some pretty good ideas. So we'll just use these last 12 minutes to have maybe one person from each group do a little share out on what they learned, or if they want to share anything or suggest anything. I know I learned some things that I hadn't thought about. So we'll just go group by group. So anyone from group 1 want to share out?
Which was group 1?
That was the group I was in with you, Mr. Gur.
Okay. I put it here in the feedback, which, or in the chat, which you can all get a chance to take a look at when we post this. And so I also want to make sure that we have enough time to talk about the continuity of learning. So I'm going to pass to group 2.
Who's group 2?
That was the group with Ms. Cordero.
Oh,
Yes. I have on my notes here. I was like copying and pasting everything. So are we discussing what we decided to do for our classes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Calderon and I were talking about the 2 different ways that we like to post things for our students. And we kind of both decided that it's just a lot easier to be posting like slides for students to go through at their own pace. So that's what we put for instructional materials. I like to record a short introduction with Mr. Monty. So we actually did that today for this week. So we post that for them. For our assignments, we like to use YouTube videos to help students if they have questions, like Bozeman or Amoeba Sisters. I like to use Newsella to assign readings to kind of build that science literacy. And we talked about quizzes on Schoology to check their understanding. For discussions, I like the Schoology discussions. I haven't used them yet, but I want to use them in the future.
Okay. Yeah.
And for feedback, just like for any submissions that students make on Schoology, it's really easy to just type directly onto there. And I really like using Google Classroom or like Google Docs, because you can automatically type onto like in suggesting mode. So if they get like a question wrong on a review question, you can say, hey, like, you're on the right track, but this is where you're missing it, and like automatically add that there, so they have that feedback and they know where they went wrong, instead of saying, oh, you got 3 out of 5, because that doesn't tell them what they got wrong. So that's what we were talking about.
Great point. And the next group was the group with Mr. Cruz's first group.
Yeah, so I think Mr. Monteleon spoke a lot of what you just talked about, Cordero, because he was talking about your things. The only, I guess, separate thing that we talked about is, I guess we do a lot of the discussions. We have a lot of, I guess, Zoom time meetings with the students to check in. That's something that I do with my classes. I meet with my core classes 3 times a week. Well, I have sessions for them to show up, and then sometimes we just talk about just random stuff just to kind of deflate. And then we also I also talked about, for me personally, I use Schoology. Schoology has an annotation feature that you can use. So I've been training my kids to submit their assignments using PDF format, using their phones. So I've been sharing a lot of apps and a lot of tools for them to turn their assignments into PDFs. And it's been working out really well. I'm able to use my iPad as well, go to Schoology, and I'm able to annotate, give them little checks. And then in addition to that, I usually post my answers to the assignments. So I don't know if that's another way of reflecting. I have the students kind of reply and asking if they have any questions. For the questions, I can always go back on Schoology and see the annotation. So that's been working out for me pretty well.
Great. Thank you. And then the next group was the group of Mr. Dowd and company.
Go ahead, Mr. Dowd.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of the things that other people said we discussed too. I mean, I think mostly, we've been using videos, pre-existing ones, been using Zoom. The consensus it seemed to be more or less You know, among us was that we liked recording the Zoom, not doing the live sessions. We find them more problematic. Assessments using the things built into Schoology, mostly. I don't know, I think those were kind of the main things that we went on. Brahmachandra and I, we started to use the My AP platform, which does actually have some glitches itself, but started to use that just because, you know, it's a month away. So.
Okay. Did I miss any groups? I think that was everyone, right? Yeah, we only had 4 groups. Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Mr. Gurr?
Yes. I'll be leaving this meeting very shortly, and I want to make sure we have an opportunity to look at the continuity of learning document that the principal sent out early in the week. And the other thing is, on Thursday of this week, we are going to be distributing free hotspots. We've got 85 of them. And so I know we have a lot of different documents out there about who needs a Wi-Fi hotspot and who doesn't. But please, for the sake of simplicity, if you know of a family or student that you haven't heard from, you've made contact, they say the issue is Wi-Fi, please just email me directly. Just email me directly, give me the name. Because I'm in communication with the principal every day. She's going to be the one who's handing them out, and we can schedule this for Thursday. So just to reiterate, if you are aware of any family who does not have Wi-Fi, please email me the name of that family as soon as you can, and we'll be able to provide them a free hotspot on Thursday. Okay? Questions regarding that?
Mr. Gore, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Did you have any extra iPads that we might be able to borrow or use
Okay.
for our own personal use?
For teachers?
Yes.
No. I'm sorry. Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. Egan, can you respond to that?
Well, we do, Bill. It's those really, really old ones that have the blue flap magnetic case.
Oh.
Those are like, man, one of the first generation iPads. So I don't know what good they'll be to you, Mr. Cruz.
Yeah, no, because my iPad, it's one of those, and all the new, or like OneNote.
Yeah, it's not compatible.
Not compatible. So
iOS like 13, I think.
yeah, so I've been sharing the one with my wife, you know, but she teaches too, so it's been kind of, you know, so I have very minimal usage for the one I have. So, but at that, you know, we were to borrow one from school, one of the newer ones, to get some of the, you know, better programs on there. But it's okay. I mean, it is what it is.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I'm going to jump off. Egan, you're going to share the continuity of learning. All right, everyone. Just a reminder that take care of yourselves, and we'll be having a faculty meeting next Tuesday instead of a department meeting, and information regarding that will follow. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
There's no meeting tomorrow, Wednesday?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Hey, Bill,
Yeah.
what is it you wanted me to share with them?
The continuity of learning document. I can you want me to email it to you?
Yeah, please, would you?
Okay. I'll do that.
Okay.
I'm gonna get over to this other meeting. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm checking my email here. Okay, so I'll just wait for his email, but in the meanwhile, yeah, I think this was good, just to do a check-in to see not just where we're at, but like what we have in mind, what we have planned out. And biology teachers, Miss Gutierrez, Calderon, Dowd, Cordero, I'd like to and tell me what you think, but I'd like to for sure collaborate on some future modules. I know Ms. Ramachandran had mentioned this a while ago, but I think now moving forward, I think the more the merrier, right? Because now that we have some good ideas in mind, And as far as the grading, Ms. Ramachandran, neither do I. They haven't done a PD on that. So I would reach out to the teachers that are doing it. I know Mr. Mr. Monteleone had some good ideas about how to do the grading. So maybe you want to share anything out about that, Mr. Monteleone, while we're here? I'm still waiting for Mr. Gurr's email.
Mr. Monty
Oh,
left.
he had to leave, huh?
He
Yeah.
left another
That's
another
right.
meeting.
So sorry, Ms. Ramachandran, I don't have any information on mastery grading because I don't use that. But definitely Mr. Ma uses it. And does anyone have that file he's talking about? Did anyone receive that file from the principal?
No.
I don't have it either. I don't think she sent it. And he still hasn't sent it to me.
Does it have to do with any of the weekly PDs that we have to do for the remainder of the year? The online PDs, is that, because that sounds like the continuity of learning, right? Are you supposed to do like a weekly PDs? No?
I don't know. No, I don't have anything from her. Okay, he just sent it. Here it is. Okay, I'm going to share it now, guys. So I'll share my screen with you. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what they're wanting us to do. So, but this is for administrators. Oh, and it looks like I got to do it too. Okay. Okay, so it looks like it's, and I'm going to forward this to you guys, but it looks like it's just like a like a triage for like how they're going to support students during this time. So I'll forward this to everyone if you want to take a look at it. And for the sake of time, I'll just go ahead and call the meeting there then. So I thank you all for your time. And are we okay with meeting once a week? I know the union had said there should only be one meeting a week, so it's subject to change. Obviously, next week is going to be a faculty PD, so we're not going to meet. But I think the plan is that we're going to follow like the PD schedule we had when we were on campus, where it's department and then it's faculty. So this one was the department, and then next Tuesday, like Mr. Grish said, will be faculty. Make sense? All right, guys. Stay safe. Thank you so much, guys. And I'm going to go ahead and post this on Schoology for us, okay?
All right.
Thank you, guys. Be safe.
See
Bye.
you.
Bye.